because I was a little nervous. I was only a passive investor originally with Grant because he'd been doing it for 25, 30 years. So when I was investing with him, I saw what I liked and I don't like. And I always tell people, if you are new to this, the best way to get started before becoming an operator is to be a passive investor. And you'll learn the pros and cons and how you can do it differently and how you can do it better.
If you're a real estate agent earning $200,000 a year and you want to grow your passive income, this show is for you. Learn secrets other agents use and hear from experts in our field who will guide you on your journey to investing in assets like apartment communities so you can take your commissions and turn them into cash flow. Here's your host, Randall. Let's dive in.
Hey, welcome back. I have Brooke Pinero on today. She's a multifamily operator and investor. She's got over 676 units as an LP or limited partner, passively investing in those deals, and then over 480 units that she has either sponsored or co-sponsored on. And so we talk about operations and some of the things that she's seeing in the market. She just moved from California over to Texas. She's in the Dallas market now, and they have some assets up there that we discuss at length, how they purchased, what they're working on. We talk about some of the mentorship programs that she's been in and just what she's seen in the market and how she's shifting a little bit to earn some more current income in the single family market as well. So jump in. Hope you enjoy the show. If you could go on rate and review, helps us a ton, bring on some great guests so that you can learn and get some value out of the time you spend with us. Just a reminder again, we have the RAM Capital Fund where we are raising capital right now. We're raising $5 million and we are offering up to 10% preferred return for your investor dollars. We pay that out on a quarterly basis. So if you're interested in an investment that's secured by single family real estate in the Texas market, then by all means, take a look at ridgelineig.com and go to the offerings page and you can check out all the information there about the RAM Capital Fund. Let's jump into the episode. Talk to Brooke. Here we go. Hey, Brooke, welcome to the show. It's awesome to have you on. Thanks for joining us. Looking forward to having the conversation with you. We were just talking a second ago. You've got 676 units as a passive investor, 481 as a sponsor. So I started to dive. I'm like, okay, let's talk about this. So welcome to the show. And just tell us kind of your corporate background. You got out, now you're in real estate and you have a solid portfolio. So of the 481 that you're sponsored on, what types of assets are those?
Those are multifamily.
Okay. So 481 is at one facility?
That is, one is 419 units. So
Okay.
that was the first one that we tackled down. And the other one is 62 units. So,
Okay.
and we're currently in acquisition for another 204 in San Antonio, wrapping it up.
That's a massive. Okay. So are you in San Antonio?
I just moved to Prosper. So I'm in North Dallas.
Okay. All right.
I've only been here for a couple of weeks. So.
All right. That's what you were saying. And I'm in San Antonio. So that's why I was wondering.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Where are those units right now? The two properties?
So one is in North Dallas. That is about 20, 30 minutes from Prosper. The other one, Amberwood, is in Dallas-Fort Worth. And then my triple net, which we own the land and the building, is in Southlake, Texas. That is the Learning Center.
Awesome. Okay. A lot of things I want to ask you about. You were in corporate America, team sports background. Explain to me, what were you doing in corporate America?
So corporate America, and the whole touch on the team sports background is, in my perspective, in my experience, anybody who's been an athlete. I grew up, I was a forward, I played ball. I did powder puff football, but just CrossFit for 4 years, kickboxing, the whole 9 yards. And with that, with team sports, it is not you. It is the sum of everybody together that wins. And for me, real estate is a team sport. Like the 419 units, there's no way I could have taken that down. We had a lot of people involved in that, right? Corporate, I was corporate 22 years. My focus was sales, marketing, and negotiations. And as most people know, it's golden handcuffs, right? You're told to go get a corporate job and buy the beautiful house and get married with the white picket fence and go invest in your 401k and go to college. And what do those have in common? They're funded by the government and they take more of your money, right? As a W-2 employee. And I was reading Grant Cardone's books. COVID hit, I was in sales and I was responsible for putting fiber into Northern California and Nevada in offices where nobody was at. And I'm like, I need to get creative. I'm not making any money here. I went from 6 figures to 65K. I'm making money and I had just bought a house. That's my only experience in real estate when I started, was the owning of my home. Read his book, The 10X Rule, signed up for sales, or all of his books, sales and marketing internship. A year later, he invited us to his real estate summit in 2021. I got a free VIP ticket. I showed up. I was around all these wonderful millionaires and billionaires, and the creativity is going around. And I realized what I've been taught my whole life is wrong. if I really want to be wealthy, I need to be in real estate. I always thought people that were wealthy not paying taxes were wrong. I'm like, what the hell? You guys are douchebags. Like, you're not paying. But then I realized it's my fault. I didn't know what I didn't know. And when Jared Glant, who is the president of Cardone's operations, said, hey, it's $25,000 to start the rest of your life, I had this weird pull in my gut. And I knew I wanted to be out of corporate. I was miserable. I was tired of chasing my money. I was tired of being the only female. I was tired of being told, you want to make a change, Brooke, go work at a startup. And needless to say, I dropped the 25K, and y'all, that's a lot of money. How did I have this money? Because I left AT&T. I gave them my notice, took all my 401k, and I was going to transfer it to my new corporate role. Needless to say, I didn't do that. So all of my 401k, wiped it out. It funded this journey. And then once I left that summit, I then reverse engineered my goals to how was I going to leave corporate. And I lived the next few years off the base, and all of my commissions got invested. Don't come from a wealthy family for people.
So your commission
so
from what?
From my corporate job.
Got it. Okay. So Cardone. So let's break down this first acquisition, because that's quite an acquisition for your first one. Were you an LP in any deals prior to you taking that on, or what?
Yes, I was. So okay. Because I was a little nervous, I was only a passive investor originally with Grant, because he'd been doing it for 25, 30 years. So when I was investing with him, I saw what I liked and I don't like. And I always tell people, if you are new to this, the best way to get started before becoming an operator is to be a passive investor, and you'll learn the pros and cons and how you can do it differently and how you can do it better. So yes, I started off passively. And the first 18 months, the first year, I went to 19 in-person events. A few months later, I started Empower Capital, which is our private equity company. I busted my ass. We had our team. It took me 18 months to close my first deal because, one, I trusted people that I shouldn't have trusted. I think I was a little too excited, and I should have slowed down and focused at the task at hand. And I maybe would have saw some red flags that the person who was going to sign on the debt wouldn't flake on me last minute. So bottom line, when you're new and you're taking down multifamily, a lot of people who are investors, they want to know your experience. So are you liquid? How much money do you have in the bank? I didn't have a few million sitting in the bank. Absolutely not. Brooke, who are your investors? Who do we interview to show that you haven't done a capital call, or that you actually honor your disbursements every quarter, and that you are clear on your communications and on top of your K1s? I didn't have that either. And then lastly, they wanted to know, have you gone full cycle? And full cycle, for many people who may not know, you're acquiring it, you're executing the business plan, and then you're refining or selling, and you're paying out the profits you promised, right? Doubling their money or the quarterly, et cetera, the tax appreciation benefits. So in the beginning of this journey, you guys, date. This is not a one-night stand. This is a marriage. You need to break bread with these people. You need to see how they treat the waiter. How do they treat people? Because if you get into the multifamily game, it's a 3 to 5 year commitment on average. And if the operators and general partners don't have the same mission, vision, and values and the ability to execute, you're going to fail. 2, you need to be working with people that are further along than you are. All of my partners are at least 20, 30 years ahead of me. They have the liquidity. They had gone full cycle. They had investors. And because we partnered together, I was now able to adopt what I was lacking. So make sure when you start this, don't bring on people because they're cool. Bring on people that are great at what you lack.
Yes, I agree with that. So break down then on that deal. So you said you had some struggles with the person on the debt who was going to be your key principal, I assume. So
not with that particular deal. This was my first successful deal. And the reason why I'm telling you guys this is because a lot of people get started in multifamily 4 to 6 months later. They're, I'm not making any money, blah, blah, blah. It took me 18 months to successfully close our deal. And that was our 419 units with my partners. That being said, in the beginning of the journey, the first 18 months, I was accepted in 8 best and finals, which I was great. This is a form of sales, y'all. So if you are in sales, real estate is a form of sales. So you're negotiating, you're doing all the things. I had to rely on people that I thought were good people in the mentorship. We were spending time together, and then I'd be in best and final, which means you've beat out a lot of people. And they're now debating between you and a couple other people to be awarded this deal. And they would say, hey, we're going to sign on the debt. And I would have it in writing. And then they would back out on me one in particular, and I'm not going to drop name, Brooke, I've been doing this for 18 years and you think you can just tackle your first deal. And I think it was like 118 units or something. I'm like, look at my team though. Like, it's not just me. And he would back out. And then another person was poking holes in my boat where they were negotiating things differently behind my back with the broker and seller when I got just little things, you guys. Tread lightly, date. All of my partners I've known for over 4 years. So let's just put that out there. But it took 18 months. When I was doing it on my own, I could not get past due diligence. And a lot of it was due to the partners that I was with. So that's my fault. Coming from a military family, you need to trust but validate. And I didn't do that fully.
Hey everybody, Randall McCleard here with a special shout out to our friends over at Envone. If you're looking to diversify your investment portfolio, you've got to go check them out. It's envone.com. It's a crowdfunding platform with a wide range of investment opportunities, things like real estate investing and even bourbon barrel investing. So check them out. Envone hosts our crowdfund. It's actually a single-family real estate investment fund that we have launched with them, and we've had an awesome experience working with Levy and his team. They're super responsive, very quick to assist us with things that we need, and they have crowdfunding down to a science. Go ahead and check out episode 154, where Levy and I discuss crowdfunding in detail and how it can help you either invest or raise capital. And check this out. As a friend of the pod, launch your crowdfund with Envone, and you're going to get an exclusive 10% discount when you head over to envone.com/ABC, or simply call Levy and his team at 475-800-8716 and mention Agents Building Cash Flow. Go crush it. Happy investing. Talk to you later. All right. So let's talk about the deal then. Like, you got this deal. So yeah, 419 units is, again, a pretty large deal. Where was that? Was that one in San Antonio?
That is in North Dallas.
North Dallas. Okay.
That is the landing at McCallum in North Dallas. And so we had 2 different capital partners, and then we had, there's 20 people on this deal. This deal was $68 million. So our first deal was like $68 million, excellent deal. Walker and Dunlop actually contributed $19.8 million to this, which gave them the first 18 months of profit. And so even to this day, we don't get disbursements for this particular deal until the summer. But that was a very difficult deal to close because we had this around the holidays and we closed, and then our partners had to front the money up front to ensure that we closed. And then we did a post-sale raise to get some of their money back. But it was a lot.
When did you guys close on that?
That was closed approximately 18 months ago.
Okay. And so what kind of debt was it? This was past the, let's not get bridge any longer, right?
No, this was Fannie. So this was a fixed Fannie debt.
Okay. Awesome. And so you were co-GP, raising capital, you were lead, like where were you on that?
Both. So I help with property management and raising capital. And I was able to hit 1.2 million in 6 weeks. My goal is to get $1 million raised within 30 days, but that didn't. One of the deal people fell out, so I ended up being at 750K. But my best asset that I bring to the table is I show up, I tour all the properties. I don't invest or run any property I've not actually personally seen or toured myself. So I toured it. I worked with the brokers, the property management, negotiations. We work with the contracts. This particular one, I came in during due diligence. So we walked in during due diligence, helped with that, interviewed the tenants, came up with parts of the business plan. How do we execute the value add? How do we provide more NOI? How do we increase this income? Because this is not going to be a hold. This is going to be a refi and sell within 3 to 5 years for our investors. Yeah, I help them wrap it up, help the due diligence. I work with the property management teams. We execute the business plan. When something comes up, I now show up. I was flying constantly for the last 4 years for some of these properties. Now that I'm local, I'm able to have a more hands-on approach, which I'll actually be there on Friday with some of our investors. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm just curious. So through the Cardone like setup, how do they typically promote that you structure the deals? Because having 20 co-GPs is numerous, I would think. I'm on a deal that's like that. It has a lot of co-GPs on it. But yeah, do they promote that sort of setup? And okay, you're going to syndicate, bring on a bunch of your co-GPs to raise capital? Or is it like, hey, tackle a deal that makes sense. Go after 100 unit. Don't do a.
So
What
full
is it?
transparency. So I'm in multiple mentorships.
Sure.
I am probably part of 4 or 5. So Sunrock, Michael Blanc, Vina Jetty, Grant Cardone, and a few other that were all local. And that being said, Grant, if you're new, and I love Grant, and he literally gave me the jacket off his back. Him and I actually went against the Hayworth, a deal together when I was in his mentorship, and him and I went toe to toe, and I wouldn't back down. That's a whole nother story. He tells you to go bigger with the right team. And however, though, if you're not self-driven or self-motivated, Grant is only great. He's a great cheerleader, and he's excellent on telling you how to raise the deal and how to win the deal. But then that's it. The buck stops there. And everybody knows who's in this field. The work starts after acquisition. Okay. It's not just the glitz and glamour of syndicating. And syndicating is hard. It's very difficult. So his perspective is, why go for residential and all of these other things when you can scale faster? If you're going over 100 units, 150 or even more, one, you're going to leverage an excellent team that has way more experience than you, first of all. Two, you have the ability to be hands off because you're hiring a property management team. You're not dealing with tenants, toilets, termites, etc. So that was really appealing to me that, okay, I can give back to this community. I can find something with meat on the bone. And I don't have to have a bunch of money. I don't have to have millions of dollars in the bank. And I had zero real estate experience, but I leveraged and showed up everywhere because y'all, this is a pay to play game. And if you're not showing up consistently, you're forgotten, right? Nobody wants to invest and collaborate with people who are here today, gone tomorrow. We're not going to invest with you or partner with you if you won't even invest in yourself. And we don't want to educate you and teach you when we're in acquisitions, when you haven't signed up for a mentorship to educate yourself. So that being said, Grant's very high level. If you're brand new and you don't have sales marketing type of experience the way I had, there wasn't a lot of success there. The people who had the most success were already in real estate or they already came from a strong sales background. Where other mentorships like Michael Blanc, he has a program that will hold your hand from A to Z in an acquisition, right? I think Sunrock Community has that as well. Vina Jetty is really great for brand new people. So you need to know what your goal is and who resonates with you and where you are today, because some of them will be more advanced than others.
Yeah, good advice. Good advice if you're looking to get into it. So now you've owned this asset. You guys are operating it, right?
Correct.
And you have another 60 something units. So
Yes, sir.
how are those performing now? You said you haven't taken any distributions. You guys are still waiting for, because I know Dallas market a little bit, right? I'm down in San Antonio. Cap rates got compressed significantly. And now I'm not as familiar with it as I was like 21, 22, 23. So how are they performing? You guys, is there cash flow or has that been compressed due to the rates? What are we seeing?
So the first property, Amberwood, it is cash flowing, but as sponsors and passive investors, we're not seeing any of that cash flow because Walker & Dunlop came in to contribute $19.8 million on this asset.
Pref equity?
Correct.
Yep.
So they got all of the cash until about July of this year. So we're waiting, but we got the bonus depreciation. So we're getting from the cost segregation, the bonus depreciation on the K1s to wipe out our taxes. Right now, it's only been at 82, 86% for the last 18 months. And we just had our property management call. What was it, on Tuesday? And I told them, I'm like, why are we still stuck here? Granted, we had to switch property management teams. Someone was stealing money, and this happens, y'all. Like, this was a referral too. When people give you referral, ask, do you have experience with this person? Or is this, hey, if you refer me, I'll give you $100 referral fee or something like that? Because the first property management didn't work out. So in the middle of this, we had to transition, retrain our business plan on the property management team, because you guys, just because you have a property management team doesn't mean you're hands off. You need to be managing that team every single week. You need to be on calls and make sure they're executing their business plan. And that being said, the new company is fabulous, but I feel like we've been sitting at 86% occupancy for 18 months. And the reasoning behind it is, one, they advise that there's been a lot of fraud, and that is really common, you guys. People may lie on applications. There's fraudulent checks going around. They're advising that 62% of the applicants that come in aren't qualified, which I then, of course, rebutted. Okay, then you need to change your marketing efforts because you're obviously not marketing to the right people that can afford or qualify, because we want 3 times of your income in comparison to the rent. And we do community events, and there's going to be one in a couple of weeks. I'm going to show up. because there was a comment that was made that, oh, it was a grab and go event. Like we gave them bags of, and I'm sure it was wonderful. And the property management, the new one, they've been doing great. But I feel we need to change who we're marketing to, one. Two, I want to attend a community event and see our property management team. Are you really engaging with them? Are you learning what makes them tick? Is the community collaborating with each other? Because most people will pay a little bit more if they're happy where they're at and they feel like it's home and it's a community. And we've done a lot of work on this properties. It is performing. I'm happy because then Walker and Dunlop would come and chew us out, right? They're a big company you don't want to mess with. And so they're getting their money. It's part of the business plan. We have to wait till summer. But my frustration is more that I feel we've been sitting at under 90% occupancy, which is our goal, which I want to make a point. And single family, and I'm just now getting into the flipper side. I've never been in residential, okay, y'all? So I'm going from multifamily to residential. But one thing that I've noticed to all my flippers and all my people who like to buy a whole bunch of houses and get that income, if you have a few houses, somebody leaves that house, you just lost 100% of your income. Now, if 10 people move out of our apartments, I still have 90% of our cash flow, right? That's also another beautiful side of multifamily is that I can lose people can come and go, and the cash flow isn't super damaged. That's why when you underwrite, we're usually underwriting for 90%, sometimes even 85% occupancy, 52% debt. Everybody says, oh, we're conservative in our underwriting. Yeah, you and everybody else, okay? Nobody's going to say that they're not, but just make sure that the business plan is being executed. And I think I answered your question, but it is performing, but I feel like it can be better. And we need to market to different people because the people we're marketing to can't afford it. And there's a lot of fraud.
So here's a question I got then. One, we'll talk about single family in a second. I'm just curious, the shift on the occupancy and on being a co-general partner on a deal. How much say do you feel like you have in that compared to what the actual lead sponsor is doing? Because a lot of calls that I'm on with lead sponsors, it is that's nice. Yeah, we're already working on that. But then you don't have like full buy-in, right? Or the ability to influence the actual decisions that are being made. So how do you feel about that?
So for me, first thought is that I am curious how long you knew those people for the people who are on those calls. That is not our situation. I'm in the same mentorships with these people. I've known them for over 4 years. And what makes me stand out is I'm their top capital raiser. And that doesn't mean anything. Just because you're a capital raiser, it doesn't mean anything, y'all, because it's illegal. You can't just come into a deal. I'm a good capital raiser. You need to be able to do more. Okay. And be super active because per SEC law, it's illegal just to come into a deal and raise capital. So let's just put that out there. But I know the value I bring and I show up. I never miss a call. I tour. If something hits the fan, I'm there. And when we are on our team calls, so we have our overall team calls every Monday at 9 a.m. with our partners and our property management teams and the extended potential partners. And when we have okay, so for example, let me give an example because I don't want to just beat around the bush and blah, 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 and just go off wind here. One of our investments is only 62 units, for example. And we were waiting for, I think, washer, dryer, stuff to come into play. And one of the lead sponsors had made, and we've been waiting for a long time, made the comment that it was one of the smaller deals or something along that line. And it made it seem like it wasn't as big of not that the deal wasn't a priority, but it was like not as big of a priority. Or actually, we're going to focus on this instead and this. And a few of us, because on this one, there's only maybe 8 of us. I was like, and first someone else jumped in and we no, that's not right. But this is why. You need to be professional, but you can't complain. If you are going to be unhappy about something, come up with a solution. And that's one thing most of us have in common. We'll say, you know what? This is not going to work because of X, Y, Z. Or when the previous property, when we had people stealing from us, what didn't you guys vet this? People, yes, and this is why. We collaborate and we're solution oriented. If in fact, because they can't, honestly, you guys, you are partnership heavy. You cannot grow and scale without people. You can go far alone, but you go further together. And we know the value we bring. If I'm bringing a bunch of money and I'm bringing investors and I'm touring and I'm doing negotiations and I'm bringing deals, you're going to have a strong voice. And they give us a voice. What questions do you have? And they're never combative. But sometimes they might say something that we're like, no, that doesn't make sense, or help me understand why that is. They never, oh, that's just the way it is. But I hear these horror stories, and you bet your ass that if I want to partner with you, if you were like that, it would take one deal, one conversation that you think that you're King Tut. No, We brought the equity. We're bringing the money. Yes, we'll put in our own money, but your team can make you or break you. So no, make sure you get to know people, because that is a horror story I'm hearing going around. But know the value, and before you say no to something or you don't like how something is being run, come up with a potential solution. Don't just complain about it.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Yeah.
I love it when somebody comes with a solution, not just a problem. Hey, here's a problem. Yeah, you figure it out. You're like, hey, okay.
We're a team.
Let's figure
Like,
this out.
that's why I tell everybody, you need to treat the CEO the same way you do the janitor. That's why I tell people you need to break bread with people. Go out to eat. What is their character? How are they treating people? And I've had partners that I see them be rude to the waiter, or how they talk to women, or they exclude somebody this. And I'm like, ugh. But then they might want to talk to me for some reason. In the back of my mind, I'm like, I'll be cool, because you guys, there's a lot of people that are good as friends, but not business partners. Okay. Y'all need to vet that. Just because you need to look at somebody's character, because when stuff hits the fan, and it will, you need people to all be in the same boat, rowing in the same direction, taking accountability, because this is our reputation and this is our brand. And it takes years to grow a brand and reputation, and only seconds and minutes to break it down. So date the people that you're with. And if they try to downplay your feelings on something, note to self, I would not suggest partnering with them in the future. Or open your mouth. You said this, and I've done this anybody who knows me, I'm not afraid to speak up. I have a mouth. And so I'll say, you know what? You said this, I heard this, and I'll put it on me. I think I missed something. I think I'm confused. Where's the disconnect? This is what I heard. Am I hearing this correctly? Reiterate first, because humans are sensitive, and you don't know if what they meant on their delivery meant something else. So clarify. And if they make the comment like, no, you only brought in 250K, or you only did this, or I'm in charge here, I'm the one that signs on the debt. Because we did have a situation, I signed on the debt, so I'm the one taking all the risk. Really? And I'm like, no, that's not true. If anything was to hit the fan, our money's in this, our investors are in this, and it's just our money too. So speak up professionally and pretend that you misunderstood, reiterate, and go from there. Then determine whether this relationship is worth you moving forward on. Once the deal is done, move on, be friends, be professional, but don't work with them again.
Yeah. All right. So you mentioned a second ago about single family, like why the shift, if you are acquiring larger assets, why go to single family?
So I'm going to quote one of my mentors. All problems can be solved with real estate. Any and all problems. You're in a tax situation, you need some cash flow, you want to just leave your W-2 so you can have financial freedom and time to run. So what my point is, being in corporate for 22 years, and especially coming from California, I'm now a resident of Texas, where they were taking 55% of my check, and I gladly left in October. I told myself, I will never go back. I don't have none of a passive income, but what I did was I paid off anything that wasn't a priority. A lot of people will tell you, hey, you want to keep your $10,000, $15,000 a month corporate job? It's going to take you 5 years in multifamily. You need to do all of these things. No, what I did was I paid off everything, and I made sure I just had my mortgage and my utilities to survive. The only thing that I messed up on is I had no fund money. So what does that mean? Why does that matter? It's because I'm going into flipping houses, so that can now be my income. I have some passive income, but I don't have a bunch of bills, y'all. We have 2 vehicles, they're paid off. I don't have credit card stuff. I do not want to trade time for money. I don't buy things just to buy things. I don't want to keep up with the Joneses. And so if I'm keeping my expenses low, and some people are like, man, but you only have $3,000 of passive income, and then your bills are only this much or this. That's not financial freedom. You need to have 10, 15 grand. No, I get to run my day. What I say goes. I get to pick the people that I'm with. And everybody who's an entrepreneur knows you get bursts of income. So when I get those bursts of income from different projects I'm managing, I put it in savings, I put them away. And flipping houses, you can make anywhere from the mentorships that the one that I'm in, and I've interviewed a majority of his students. The lowest, poorest one's like 42 grand, was like one of their worst flip. The best one they just did was 220 grand. And that was net. That was after they paid everybody off. And we're going to document 80% of that is going to go back into real estate. So 80% is going back into real estate. 20% will be to fund taking care of my family, because I am the breadwinner of the family. So that is why I feel, as long as I stay in real estate, even if I'm a broker, or I'm doing something, anything in a real estate facet where I'm getting to choose the people that I work with, or I am educating myself and I'm continuing to grow in all facets, I'm okay with that. So that's why I'm choosing to work with Tommy Jones, who I've known for about 4 years, and I'm now part of his community, and then educating them to invest.
Tommy Jones.
Through real estate. He's
just thought of Tommy Lee Jones was in some movie I watched a long time ago.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah,
he's an actor, Men in Black too.
Yeah.
And I get that question a lot from some of my peers. Man, you're going from multifamily to flipping. I'm like, y'all, it's real estate and you're helping people. This was what sold me, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to go hunt all these things, people, and door knock. And I'm used to hearing no. I'm in sales. So the more no's you get, you're closer to a yes. I've been cussed out, hung up on. I don't care. I'm not that sensitive. I'm here to freaking make money. But what makes Tommy's Wealth Through Real Estate, his platform, different is that they are working with people who are in pre-foreclosure. And we give them options to either keep their home. So either when I'm buying this from you, you can rent it from me, you can buy it back, or we can sell it and give it to another first-time home buyer. Because we like to focus also on historically excluded communities, preferably, and women and people who don't always have a chance to buy a house. So you want to buy it back from me now that it's less, because we want it to not go on their credit and we don't want it to hit foreclosure. And we're going to go in and we'll even give them a little bit of money to start over. And usually what happens is because of divorce, a death, a disease, someone gets laid off. One of these people lost their job. They're making $54 an hour. And now she's making 14, 15, like $15 an hour, and she can't afford her house. So now we're looking at, okay, do you want to keep this house? And we'll remodel it and you can rent it from us, or you buy it back, or we sell it to a new family and we'll give you some money, say 10 grand or something, to start over and you can start renting somewhere else.
So this is like a big sub-2 strategy. Is that what I understand?
I'm still learning more. So it is similar because I know I've been to Pace's. Pace is fabulous. So he's big on sub-2, Pace Morby. And we were in Montana. And so I still know a little bit of sub-2. And I think a lot of it is similar to that. And again, I'm new to residential, so I'm still getting this curve, but I'm also a people person and I can talk to people, and I'm in sales and I'm in real estate. So for me, I'm just going to execute, and I learn by action and have a phenomenal community support.
It sounds like either pre-foreclosure. So if you're doing pre-foreclosure and you're paying the owner like $10,000 to move out, then it's, unless you're actually closing at like a sale price, then you're probably doing a sub-2 like wrap. Is my 2-second. I've heard this for the first time.
You're probably right, because I know, and I'm still learning that, but that's the cool thing that I like about it. You're giving them an option to avoid foreclosure, and then you're remodeling it and you're staying in your budget. And so it feels good because you're helping people, but also as an investor, you're making money, and now we're investing that. So for me, 80% of that is getting invested, and we're going to show the check and we're documenting it, because a lot of people are just blowing the money, and you're not going to grow wealth that way.
So again, if you are, for you, I don't know Tommy Jones's deal, but are you buying this with a group, like these single family houses? Oh, hey guys, I found 123 Main Street. Like, we're taking this thing down now, and Tommy swoops in with bag full of cash and pays for it, and then you get it. Like, how does it? I don't get it.
You have a choice. So what you can do, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to look at what the house is worth. What is the comparables, right? Okay. And your rehab is $35 per square foot. And most banks around here are not loaning over 70%. So you're going to take the biggest value of the median average of what, like looking at Zillow, Realtor, hell, even B of A and Chase have like different properties that they're selling. Take that average and then look at the ARV, the actual repair value of the house. So it's $35 times a square foot. You're going to subtract the value of the house that the current market would buy that for, do 70% off, and then subtract your 35%, right? Yep. So that gives you your offer price, right? So there's that. And then when you're speaking with the person, sometimes it's overinflated and they want way more than it's worth. Okay, then we can have, if you want to list on MLS, I have a real estate agent. They'll do it for a flat fee. You'll get more money there. My job is to get you out of foreclosure, not get this on your credit, and get you something to start over or rent back. So we're not going to offer over what the actual repair value is. So that is done either as with your own money, because for example, one of them just put in 20, 30 grand, and you want to keep within your other own cash, because then when they sell it, they get all their money back, right? The other way is hard money. So we have several hard money lenders that we'll work with, like, okay, give us the hard money and then they're paid back first and then we get what's left over. So you get your own money or a hard money lender, unless you choose to work with a wholesaler, which many people say that I've never worked with a wholesaler. Most of them say they're too expensive. But what I have started doing on social media as of yesterday, because I know a lot of real estate agents, is if someone who has a distressed property, reach out to me and we can work on keeping them in the homes, renting it back from us, selling it back, or just selling it to a new home and giving you money to start over. So I hope that answered your question.
It does. Yeah. I flipped a bunch of houses. So that's why I'm like, what is the strategy that you're because it just
hard money or your own money.
Sure. Yeah. So what it sounds like as well is that you are targeting a very narrow niche of people that are in pre-foreclosure. I would not limit yourself to that if that's the strategy that you're doing. I would also talk to a bunch of wholesalers. It is by far the easiest way to get into that business. If you are trying to buy property, I would call every single wholesaler you possibly can. Today, I was doing the same thing. I was like texting my friends who I know flip houses. I was like, hey, I'm buying again. Send me some wholesalers you've been working with. So they sent me a bunch of people. Go to investorlift.com and there's a bunch of properties that are listed there that are all just investment property, investment grade. And that's a bunch of wholesalers.
What does that look like? Working with the wholesaler. So some people, maybe they're wrong. Some people say that, man, whenever we work with a wholesaler, they took almost all the profits and their goal is still.
That's their fault for not doing their numbers.
Oh,
seriously.
Okay.
There's a ton of deals that are on there that are awful. They're super terrible deals. And wholesalers, I looked at one, I'm literally looking at my MLS here in San Antonio right now for an area that, like, they say, hey, the ARV is going to be $450,000. I pull it up and there's 4 or 5 active listings on that same street for $380,000. And yeah, you could probably justify it. There's maybe one comp that sold for that price, but overall, when you're competing with new builds and other things that were going on in the neighborhood, I was like, there's no way I'm taking on that risk. So you want to sell it at a 70%. Anyway, the whole point is you got to vet them just like you're going to vet anything else. Do your own numbers, do your own due diligence on the deals, but it's a much faster way than going and knocking on doors. Somebody's already doing that. It's just like MLS. If you're a realtor and you're going out and you're trying to find listings, it takes a lot of work. If you're looking to buy something and you don't want to do all the marketing on your own, go to the MLS, has all the deals. They're already there. You can make offers on them, that sort of thing. It's very similar to a wholesaler. We used to do a lot of marketing on our own. We would go direct to seller, and that's all we did for our investment business. And yeah, you can buy deeper deals. You get deep, but at the same time, I spent a lot of money on marketing. So it's a trade-off. If I could just find 1 or 2 deals from a wholesaler and I don't spend any money on marketing, then there's something to be said about it, especially if you're just starting out. I would not neglect it. And I would go to every single real estate investor meetup that you can. Go to the app meetup and just start attending. That. Yeah, just start attending all the RIAs and saying, hey, I'm in this area. Here's my buy boxes, what I'm looking to do. I'm using hard money or I'm paying cash. Don't send me this and this, but do send me this. And you'll start building up a little book of people who are going to send you deals. And then it just makes life a little bit easier. It grows your funnel of deal flow rather than just trying to do it on your own or door knocking, because that's a very slow approach. But again, if you find that one deal that you get on your own, then maybe you hit a home run on that. So anyway, look, Brooke, it's been good catching up. I appreciate you jumping on. If you're raising capital or anything like that, I'd be curious to see what other deals you're putting out, what kind of things you guys are seeing on the multifamily front. And so we can catch up and talk more about that at some point. But again, appreciate you jumping on, talking about your business, what you guys are working on.
I appreciate you giving me the time. I'm very grateful. I love your podcast. I was checking it out. Congrats on having 148 episodes. I was like, dang, you used to do this for a minute. And I listened to your most recent one, Wyatt Simon, I think it was. The good thing, I left your review and listening to your previous episodes. And I said this on the review, no matter what sector of real estate you're in, you learn something. You learn something, whether it's a delivery, whether it's a cost, whether it's a process, whether it's a system. And at first I was like, man, their whole team are real estate agents. I'm like, I don't have my license. I'm like, but you know what? All of these people bring something different to the table. So congratulations to your ABC, the Agents Building Cash Flow, and having 148 episodes is great because I know quite a few people trying to get into this industry and it's not easy.
No, so it's not, but thank you so much. I appreciate it. I enjoy conversations like this one. So
yeah, it was a pleasure, Randall. Thank you.
Thanks. Talk to you soon. All right, bye.
Did you know that 80% of the agents we speak with got into real estate in order to gain passive income so they could obtain financial freedom and become work optional? If you want to stay up to date, the best way is to make sure you're subscribed. So if you haven't done that, go ahead and do it now. We'll catch you on the next episode.